Welcome, everyone. In this explainer, we're going to do something interesting. We're going to take a look at these big, ambitious promises for new smart towns, and then we're going to hold them right up against the pretty tough reality of a state capital that, well, can't seem to get the basics right. Okay, let's just let that sink in for a second. An admission of failure and an escape into fantasy. I mean, that's a pretty bold statement, right? It really gets to the core of what we're talking about today. Is this whole dream of a shiny, high-tech future just a way to distract us from the really tough, messy problems we're facing right now? Well, let's find out. All right, first up, let's look at the promise itself. We're talking about the vision the government is selling for Meghalaya's future. And you know what? It's a really seductive one. I mean, who doesn't want modern, equitable growth? On the surface, it sounds fantastic. And it's important to get this. This isn't just about shiny new buildings. It's about a story, a powerful story of progress that's finally spreading out beyond just the capital city. So when you look at the plan on paper, it looks great. I mean, really great. The idea is to take that smart city concept we've heard about and roll it out in places like Tura and Jowai. And what this does is it creates this really compelling narrative, right? It's a story of fairness, of equitable growth. It's basically saying to all these other districts that might have felt ignored, hey, your turn is coming. The dream of development is for you too. And there you have it. That's the end goal they're pitching to everyone. A whole network of brand new, super efficient, modern urban centers. It's a beautiful picture for sure. But, and this is the big but, can you actually build that dream on the foundation that exists today? That is the million-dollar question. Okay, so we've seen the dream. Now it's time for a reality check. Let's pivot and see how this big promise actually stacks up against what's happening on the ground in the state's main hub, Shillong. Because this right here is where that shiny, aspirational future has a head-on collision with the messy present. And that leads us to this, the one question that really underpins this entire conversation. It forces us to ask about two things: capability and priorities. I mean, think about it. If the main economic and administrative center of the entire state is struggling, what does that really say about the ability to pull off something even bigger and more complex? Let's not talk in hypotheticals. Let's get specific. 4 days. In just the last month, the capital city, Shillong, had no water for 4 days straight. We're not talking about low pressure or an intermittent supply. We're talking a complete shutdown. This isn't a smart city issue, folks. This is a basic, fundamental survival issue. Then you've got this number, 98%. According to official reports, we're talking CAG reports here, a staggering 98% of the city's solid waste just gets dumped into landfills. Unprocessed, no treatment, nothing. Look, that's not just a minor hiccup or a small inefficiency. That's a catastrophic failure of one of the most basic jobs a city has. And as if the water and garbage problems weren't enough, let's talk traffic. Every single day, residents are dealing with a total systemic failure of traffic management. We're talking gridlock. It chokes businesses, it kills productivity, and it just tanks your quality of life. These aren't just little annoyances. They're all giant red flags signaling a system that is completely overwhelmed. So all this brings us to a really critical point. What is the actual strategy here? Why would you announce these huge, grand new projects when your most important existing systems are literally falling apart? Let's try to unpack the why. And maybe, just maybe, it's because fixing old, messy, complicated infrastructure is brutally hard. It's expensive, and you don't get a lot of political credit for it. But announcing a shiny new town, that's an easy, clean, headline-grabbing win. And this slide, wow. It just lays it all out, doesn't it? On one side, you have the promise, filled with all these bright, optimistic words, modern, efficient growth. And on the other side, you have the reality, water shutdowns, garbage, traffic, basic failures. That huge gap between those two columns, that's where the real story is. What this massive contrast suggests is a pattern, a kind of political strategy. It's a strategy of perpetual announcement. You prioritize the big, splashy announcement over the hard, boring, long-term work of actually getting things done. And it works, right? It gets everyone to look over there at some distant, shiny future instead of looking right here, right now, and demanding accountability for what's broken today. You know, there's actually a name for this in the world of urban planning. It's called the leapfrog development fallacy. And it describes this exact scenario perfectly. You essentially abandon the failing, rotting core of a city and try to leapfrog over it to build something new and pristine right next door. But here's the fallacy part. If you don't fix the deep underlying problems, the issues with governance, with capacity, you don't solve anything. You just end up copying and pasting the exact same problems to the new place. So, where does this leave us? What are we supposed to do with all this information? Well, the point here isn't just to be critical for the sake of it. This is really a framework. It's a way for all of us as citizens to start asking better, tougher questions. First things first, question number 1. You can start demanding substance, not just sizzle. Ask for the details. Where's the project report? What's the actual budget? Who was in charge of this? And what are the real timelines? Just asking those simple questions is often enough to figure out if you're looking at a real plan or just a fancy press release. Okay, question number 2. You can check the foundation before you build the skyscraper. Before we even start talking about smart anything, let's ask, does the local municipal office in a place like Tura or Jowai have a handle on its current basics? Water, waste, traffic, today's problems. A quick look, or even just asking around, can tell you a whole lot about whether they're actually ready for some massive high-tech upgrade. And finally, question number 3. And this is the big one that ties it all together. It's about demanding proof of concept. Before we pour all of our hopes and our money into this new dream, why don't we ask the government to prove it can competently run the city it already has? Because you know what? Maybe fixing the here and now, maybe that's the smartest plan of them all.